You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in this household. Joining me for his third week in a row, that's probably a record in his books, is our work experience kid turned pro, Danny Webb. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I am. I won't lie. I've felt better. I believe you're in the same boat. Just a little bit on the nose, a little bit at the moment. But you can probably hear how nasally I am. But I'm getting through.
Yeah, at least it's you and me both.
Yeah, we'll suffer through together. That's the main thing. But we are soldiering on. Yeah, exactly. And we're soldiering on. We'll get through it. We're going to start off with a little bit of injury news. We're just going to go through nice and quickly. The Falcons tight end, Kyle Pitts, he's going to miss a fair bit of time. He's getting some surgery on his knee, MCL, I believe. So he's out indefinitely. He's been put on the IR. The Giants have put on their rookie wide receiver, Wandale Robinson. You're good with names, is that what you say? Wandale?
Yeah, Wandale.
So he's torn his ACL, so he's out for the season. Justin Fields for the Bears. This is a good one or not a good one, but for anyone who has him for fantasy. He seemed to hurt his shoulder in the last drive of their game, their game. It was his non-throwing shoulder, but it seems like it might cause him a bit of dramas. So that's one to keep an eye on. We'll have more news on that one on Thursday. And last one, which hurt our punters club group, Mike Williams has re-injured a ankle that he was out for the last 2 weeks. He had one catch, rolled the ankle again, and was out for the rest of the game, which that was the only leg that we lost in our punters club, which Maxi, who's going to have a couple of mentions today, he was pretty devastated about. That's the injury report done and dusted. We'll get it out of the way nice and early. We do have a couple of news stories. Have you been over these news stories, mate?
Just on those injuries that Wandale Robinson
actually did his ACL on that slip episode, which is incredibly interesting.
Is that right?
at the Giant Stadium.
Which is that. And they've actually come out and said they've made the decision to replace the field in 2023, but they are...
Yeah.
Like, all this stuff's coming out
about the injuries, and they're still looking to go synthetic.
Oh.
Just a little note on that.
Yeah, right. That is a very... So they said they're going to change from the one they've got, but they're going to find a different one.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm guessing a lot of players aren't happy about. The findings still
haven't fully proved.
Towards that, maybe haven't fully proven that slip film turf is actually worse,
especially injuries like that's what he's done his ACL. So,
yeah, right. That is an interesting little side note. I did see that they had come out and said that they were going to change it, but I didn't realise that they're going to change to the exact same thing. So it sounds like a lot of money going down the drain there, but we'll see what happens.
Especially NFL. Everyone needs to get grass. I guess I'll change the decision on that because
it'll become mandatory. For now, they're looking at more synthetic.
Yeah. Interesting. Another one to keep an eye on. Just a couple of news stories. So the Broncos today or yesterday have released veteran running back Melvin Gordon. Now, he was the number one running back leading in at the start of the year. So a little bit of a slip for him he's now been released. For anyone who's got him on fantasy, probably look to offload him. And the Commanders. So this is exciting news for them, especially their defense. They're starting to come good, the Commanders, the last few weeks. And they're adding to their defensive side of the ball with activating their young defensive end of Chase Young. So he was the number 2 pick, I reckon, in last year's draft. So that's a big in for their defense.
Tore his ACL on November 14th.
Since, but he's also still not confirmed to be playing this Sunday yet.
Nah, but when they've activated him to the active roster, means they've got 21 days to use him. So that's still it's within 3 weeks they have to use him.
Yeah, which we
Just for
definitely
you
help
to
from
know. Just for you to know.
Thank you.
Me and all the other listeners.
Yeah, exactly. So that is our news done and dusted. I wanted to get it out of the way nice and quickly. Like I said, not feeling 100%. So we're going to power through today. But I do have something for you that you were not quite.
It's time for questions without notice.
This has become quite a popular little segment of ours. Now, I did mention to you about that chat function. This is actually a request from one of our own, Maxi Rampling. He didn't know he was requesting this, but he has requested it. Oh, get out of the way. So last week he had quite a chuckle about your pronunciation. So he messaged me. What the hell is going on with this thing? He messaged me and said your pronunciation of the Commanders quarterback. Do you remember his name?
No.
You don't remember. That's perfect. That's exactly.
Oh, yeah, no, Heineke.
Heineke. All right, you got it right. That's a shame. That is a shame. So what we're going to do as soon as this disappears on me, I've got a thing on my screen which is really, really annoying me. I'm going to send you. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 names that are quite tricky to pronounce. They surprisingly come from 2 of them from the same team. But that's all right. I'm going to write them to you in this chat function. And you are going to try your best to actually say the names. All right?
Beautiful.
So the first one is actually an Australian. He's for the San Fran 49ers. And that is his name. How do you say? That's it. Just his last name. Wisniewski, yeah. I thought I'd start you off nice and easy. He's the Australian punter for the 49ers. The kicker, sorry, not the punter. But yeah, I thought you started off nice and easy. Well done. So the second one is also from the 49ers, is a wide receiver. Let's see if you can say this name. Again, just his last name. First name's Brandon, if that helps you.
Ayak?
Close. It's Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk. Oh, I wasn't.
You
That
were not too far away. Yeah, that's it. It's slowly going to get a little bit harder, but this one is another Australian, but he comes from your Birds. So he's the big offensive linesman.
Mailata.
Oh, nice. Jordan Mailata. He's one of the big guys. I reckon we mentioned him the other week. He's been dominating up front for the Birds. And lucky last, you actually sent me, this is a full name. You sent me a question mark as to whether this is a good pickup for your Birds. He's a big defensive linesman, and I want the full name this time.
I was like, I
have no idea who this is or how to.
Yeah, he's a veteran. So.
The damn Kongsa.
Try it again. Just for Maxi's pleasure, I want you to try it again.
Let's see what I might have done from that one.
How do you do it? Teach me.
It is Ndama Konsu, his name is.
I was that far off.
Nah, you were pretty far off.
Hey, you're welcome.
Nice. Yeah, I just wanted to. He messaged me and said he couldn't get over your efforts of trying to say Taylor Heineke, so I thought I'd throw in a couple of. There are actually 2 from the 49ers and 2 from the Birds. We might try this weekly and see how you go with a few of the names.
Good. I love that.
Yeah.
It's a wider audience. It's fantastic.
You actually did pretty well, so well done.
Thanks, man.
All right, we're going to get straight into our football review, and we're going to do it a little bit different this week because you've actually had a little bit of time on your hands and you've done a little bit of a write-up on each game. We are in the middle of a game, which is the 49ers and the Cardinals down in Mexico City. It's currently 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. 49ers are up 24 to the Cardinals 10. They are kind of all over them. Although DeAndre Hopkins has gone 7 receptions for 77 yards for the Birds there. But I feel like the 49ers are all the way over the top of them. We'll keep you updated as we go. But I'm actually going to run through the games, and then you're going to give us a little tidbit if you've got one for each game. How's that sound?
Yeah, no,
Like that.
Perfect. The first game, which was on Friday, which was my Packers, which I was confident about, but unrightly so, it sounds like. They come out and dominated us. Ryan Tannehill, they won 27 to us 17. We had our chances, but just couldn't quite convert. Tannehill, 22 of 27 for 333 and 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry actually killed us. 28 carries, 87 yards, but he threw a touchdown as well as crossing over for one. And Treylon Burks, which he killed us on third down, 7 receptions for 111 yards. They were just too good for us. Mate, what have you got on that one?
Bring up Henry because Henry was the one who throughout this game,
And especially that little cheeky touchdown. His cheeky throw, sorry.
Titans have now won 7 of their last 8, which is
Impressive.
opposite.
They've lost 6 of their last 7.
227 yards and 2 touchdowns, but it just obviously
Does not compete.
the Titans kind of seem like they're going to.
They always kind of have that in the bed.
They did. Early on, we were competitive, but yeah, they just definitely just held that little 1 touchdown kind of lead the entire time, which we just couldn't quite break. But that's all right. We'll discuss more about the Packers on Thursday when we come up against your Birds.
Oh, mate, it's going to be
They're heated out.
Oh yeah. The first game that we had on our Monday slate, or their Sunday, our Monday, was the Falcons 27-24 over the Bears. Justin Fields had another very good game. He had 18 carries for 85 yards, which you don't normally say for a quarterback, but we've discussed how well he's been running lately. He also threw 14 of 21 for 153. So they actually played pretty well, the Bears, but just couldn't quite get over the line over the Falcons.
A really impressive, full field, 100.
kickoff. He actually set the NFL record with his 9th
career kick, which is pretty crazy. And also, Patterson used to
2 years before signing with the Falcons in 2021, so it's pretty crazy.
He broke the record against his former team.
And then field goal from Atlanta was a 53-yard field goal with less than 2 minutes to go.
And then Hawkins iced the game
for the Falcons.
Yeah.
To actually put that one away. So yeah, the Bears were well and truly
an interception,
definitely
comes heads over.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the Fields has been playing pretty well the last 3 or 4 weeks. So they're on the up, but just couldn't quite get over the line.
Yeah, but it's all
next game we got, which was great
loss as well. So
right.
Not quite been enough.
Yeah, I reckon they've been in touchdown, field goal or closer in most of those games though, which is not what you want.
Very competitive, but just not quite.
Yeah, we will go on to the next game now, which was the Bills and the Browns, which got moved to Detroit because there was over 6 foot of snow in Buffalo. And I like the stat that the 2 running backs that were playing are 5'9" and 5'8". So if they did play, then they would have been shorter than the snow that they were running in. The Bills, they had everything against them. I put up a video of some of the fans actually helping players plow snow so they could get to the airport to leave. But they did more than enough to beat the Browns. They won 31-23. Jacoby Brissett actually played pretty well for the Browns, 28 of 41 for 324 and 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen did enough, but that elbow was still causing him a little bit of grief, but I think he was still protecting himself a little bit. Singletary, which makes sense, had 18 carries for 86 yards. He also rushed for a touchdown. And Amari Cooper for the Browns, an off-season acquisition. He's looking good for the back end of the season when they get Deshaun Watson back, if they play him straight away. 8 receptions, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns himself. So he could be good for anyone on fantasy in the back end of the year.
Yeah, a lot of my takeaways from this was about the snow as well, because like it's such a
players from Buffalo still managed to get the intense amount of snow. Like, so the players themselves would have been
under the snow if they had it.
Yeah.
But Buffalo also helped
by their kicker Tyler, who made
66.
Yeah, nice. That helps. Yeah, under the yeah, nice. That makes sense. Next game was your Birds getting over the line just against the new rampaging, maybe, or just a bit of energy behind the Colts. They were actually up for most of the day, and it was a 1-yard touchdown run from your man Jalen Hurts to finally get him over the line in the back end. But the Colts actually looked pretty good, and I thought halfway during the last quarter we're going to steal it from you. They end up winning 17-16 in the last. So Matty Ryan threw for 213. Like I said, Hurts 16 carries for 86 yards, really using that big frame. And Devonta Smith 6 receptions for 78 yards for the Birds.
Touchdown as soon as that happened.
the Eagles actually fought
in previous weeks, which also sent the skyrocketing. So I was like, we can't lose
2 in a row. I can't come on this podcast and then lose 2 weeks in a row. The Colts were all,
like you said, where you run it
through for a touch. The
new coach punt was actually looking
very strong again.
I think they'd still be happy with
him going that competitive against the Eagles and having a win. I think in their mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't remember the line was, but they definitely covered it.
Yeah, I think
definitely it was 0.5.
so.
More than 0.5, yeah. Absolutely. Now, one of the games of the season, but not in a good way, it was an absolute shocking game, was the Jets versus the Patriots. Right up until 8 seconds left, the game was 3-3, and it took a Marcus Jones punt return from 84 yards, and he just ran straight to the sideline, up the sideline. He carved him up, punt return touchdown. So the only touchdown was a special teams touchdown for them to win 10-3. Like I said, 8 seconds left. Jones threw for 246. Harris ran for 65 yards. But I think the biggest takeaway was the Jets only had 103 yards of offense for the day. I think it was only like 9 possessions and 10 punts or something like that. So, or 9 first down and 10 punts. It was something ridiculous like that. So a lot of hot water coming the Jets' way, I think.
Both sides, both teams finished with the ball was Jones
returning that punt. It wasn't all
bit of snooze fest of the game.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was a terrible game, really. So we won't talk about it too much. We'll go on to the next one, which was the Saints versus the Rams. The Rams are struggling. Andy Dalton and the Saints just doing enough to get over the line 27-20 in the last. Kamara had a pretty big day from what I saw, but I don't have his stats, so I won't go out and say that. Olave actually had a huge day. 5 receptions, 102 yards, and a touchdown for New Orleans, which is the first rookie wide receiver since 2018, which I reckon would have been Thomas back then. But big news out of the Rams was Stafford actually went down again with a concussion. That's the second game in a row, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that for him.
Yeah, Stafford went
off. But I think that Dalton's 3 touchdowns.
33,
whether Stafford was going to be there or not, it seemed like
himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just think the Rams are definitely done this year. I can't see them coming back with Stafford down. Cooper Kupp's still out. Now it's 6 to 8 weeks with that ankle. He got surgery on it. So I think Rams will well and truly put the cat amongst the pigeons and just say we're done for the day, we're done for the year even.
Like, obviously, all the injuries don't help, but it's still not.
No. The Lions have gone on a 3-game winning streak or continued their 2-game, now it's 3-game winning streak to defeat the Giants 31-18. Was that in New York? It would have been in New York. So that's a big win for the Lions. Daniel Jones still threw for 341 and a touchdown, so he's still a machine. But like we said, the Lions just keep doing what they were doing. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, went over 100. And their defense really came to play, keeping them to only that 18 points and being able to score 31 themselves. Like it's a pretty big day for the Lions. Actually, Jamal Williams had 3 touchdowns, which is the first running back for the Lions since, I think, 2012 to have 3 touchdowns in a game. Former Packers.
Take away points
As well was the Williams 3 touchdown. It's also his career high.
And also, that's, as you mentioned, it's the first straight win.
It's their first. They've had 3 straight wins. So the Lions.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they're actually above the Packers in the NFC North now. So, grouse. That'll just mean more draft picks for us.
Yeah, so it's always a
sad point. What, just finished week 11, and you're already looking to the draft for next year.
Yeah. The only problem is we're going to beat these birds next week, and then that'll stuff up our draft prospects again.
Might be still
We'll get boxing gloves next episode, I think.
Oh yeah, I'll be coming in full kit. Don't you worry. Next game was the Ravens and the Panthers. Now, another one that wasn't overly exciting, but the Ravens did enough to win 13-3, scoring 10 points in the last to get over the line. Lamar Jackson, 209 in the air, but didn't throw a touchdown. Actually threw an interception. So a pretty poor game from Lamar, who's trying to get that big contract next year. Kenyon Drake, not even worth mentioning. What have you got about this one, mate?
It was
Patriots really for the worst game of the week. If it wasn't for
the Panthers,
Ravens played
a couple of late turnovers
helped definitely.
But yeah, wasn't once again the most entertaining ball games.
Was not, but the Ravens moved to 7-3, so they're pretty happy about it anyway. But next game, Commanders beat the Texans, and they weren't exciting, but they just did more than enough to get the job done. What was the name of that quarterback again? I can't remember his name. Taylor Heineke, he did. I've always said I've liked Heineke. He just does what he needs to get the wins, and they're up 23-10 over the Texans. Like I said, it's not amazing, but did more than enough. So they moved to 6-5, the Commanders.
Yeah,
they moved to 6-5.
4-1 since becoming a starter, and it has been announced that
So
Carson Wentz
officially announced.
Is it really? Nice.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
He's no longer the backup, which is, I think,
nice. Good on him.
Goes 4-1 since becoming a starter.
You just,
yeah.
You can't take him out.
As we spoke about last week.
I'm pretty sure we mentioned that last week, that you just got to stick with him and shit. If 4-1, you can't really take that out, I don't think. Yes. Next game was the Raiders, Timmy Carty's Raiders. He'd been actually pretty happy to be on today because they got the job done in overtime over the Denver Broncos to move to 3-7. And that's their first away win for the season, which is big for them. So a big touchdown catch to Devontae Adams, which was, I'm not even going to say how far. It would have been about 50 yards, I reckon.
35,
he finished with
yards.
7 receptions,
30.
Close to 50 yards. 7 receptions, 141 and 2 touchdowns on the day for him. Derek Carr, 307. He threw both of those touchdowns to Devontae Adams. And Jacobs, which we said was going to be a big day on the ground for the Vegas Raiders. He 24 carries for 109 yards. So good win for the Raiders just to keep momentum somewhat moving.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I had, was that Adams received for that
35-yard over.
but that was definitely the moment of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And
And the
Devontae
Raiders
just keeps doing Devontae things. Had that 1 week down where he was a bit crook, but we know how he feels like that. But he's still having a pretty stellar year, I think.
Yeah, and the Raiders definitely needed this win. So getting a win and over
going into next week as well.
Yeah. The biggest shock of the weekend, I actually couldn't believe that the Vikings were underdogs at home, but it seems to be true. They were 3 apiece with the Dallas Cowboys halfway during the first quarter, and they didn't score again. End up being 40-3 for the Cowboys. Dak threw for 276, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard had an absolute day out, 15 carries for 80 yards and 6 receptions for 109 and 2 touchdowns. Big day for the Cowboys after bouncing back from what now looks like if they didn't lose to the Packers 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, they could have nearly been on top of your birds, mate.
Boys got fired up after the loss against Green Bay, and they gave them
the motivation to not the way the Vikings would have wanted to snap it
down 37 points, especially like you said, I think
tight.
As
soon as they started getting scored on, they just
Cowboys just absolutely ran away with it.
But
Yeah.
if
Lose the Packers would be a completely
different story for us.
But also, like, if they didn't lose, I don't think they would come out with this amount of
momentum.
Demolish
the Vikings.
Yeah, that's fair call. They did say there was an interview with Micah Parsons at the end of the game, and he said, we heard all the noise. We heard that everyone was on our back saying, maybe we're pretenders and things like that. So it's probably a fair point to say that they've come out and they were hungry to get that win. So still, it's a huge win. I think it's got a lot of people saying, are the Vikings, were they pretenders? Are they just kind of gone back to the old Vikings way where Cousins was kind of just under pressure and throwing them away? And so it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back and do the same thing that the Cowboys did. I don't know who they've got next week, but it'll be an interesting game to see who they do come up against.
Yeah, the Vikings definitely need
the same thing that the Cowboys did, come out and dominate another team.
Just to prove that.
Because at the season,
like having a 7-game winning streak, no matter who you,
it's an impressive feat.
So I don't think they're complete pretenders, but they definitely do need to perform next week. Then
they can
come down.
Well and truly. Maxie's Bagels have done the job, and this is a big win for them. They got a win 37-30 over the Steelers. I know it's a close game against the struggling Steelers, but I think it's a pretty big win because this is their first time that they've really come out and moved the ball quite well without Jamar Chase. T. Higgins, 9 receptions for 148 yards. And Joey B, 24 of 39, 355 and 4 touchdowns. I think this is the 4th time in his career he's thrown for 350 and 4 touchdowns, which is a Cincinnati record.
Yeah, it's just
doing impressive things as he does. Yeah,
I had the same
thing that a lot of people were expecting the Bengals not really.
They still managed to put up 37, even if it's against the struggling Steelers. Come away to win. Perrine also set a franchise record. 3 touchdown
passes as a running back. Hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And now Bengals have gone on to win 4 of their last.
I don't want to throw you under the bus, but I believe it's P. Ryan. They actually were saying it during the telecast. So
You are
kidding.
Close.
Oh man, I'm about to hang up my headphones for good. This could be the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have this kid. I'm going to have to demote myself.
Ryan, there you go.
To be P. Ryan, yeah, that's a bit harsh because I would have said Perrine too, but definitely that's Perrine. So, but that's all right. But 37 on the Steelers. They have a pretty star-studded defense, so I think that's big. But the Bengals' defense might need to start pick up their game a little bit. The last game of the week, besides the game that is currently playing now, was the Chiefs and the Chargers, which is a pretty thrilling game. The Chargers came out strong again, like they did last week, but just couldn't quite hang on, losing to the Chiefs with only about 30 seconds to go. Mahomes touchdown drive to Travis Kelce, who had a day out. They won 30-27. Kelce, 6 receptions, 115 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mahomes, 329 yards and 3 TDs. But their running back as well. So Edwards-Helaire, who didn't touch the ball last week, injured himself early this week. But Pacheco is how you say his name, this guy. I think it's Isaiah or something like that. But Pacheco is his last name. 15 carries, 107 yards. So they're just next man up mentality. And, they're ticking all the right boxes, Kansas City.
Yeah, if you're going to go into any late game situation down,
and you've got
this is the man
that you want running.
Every time he goes in, he just looks super calm, put on his helmet.
As if they weren't down, as if there wasn't just 31 seconds left to go. Just put on his helmet, went out there and did exactly what he needed to do.
Which is just an incredible
Connection that those two.
he
is
situations.
He is. He's so calm. He knows exactly what he needs to do. So there's a reason they paid him big money all that years ago, and he's still worth every cent by the looks of it. But that's the end of the slate. I will go through the late game now. Is the San Fran's still up 24-10 with 2 minutes to go in the third. So Cardinals need to get on their bike if they want to. A big thing about that, actually, Colt McCoy is starting. And it seems to be that Kyler Murray has been injured ever since the Call of Duty game came out. So I don't know what you want to think about that, but read into it what you will.
Yeah.
Hasn't seen the field since, but
Yeah, since then his thumbs just seem to be a bit sore. Yeah, but we'll see what comes of it because Colt McCoy is doing enough, but obviously not enough to get victories. But yeah, they have looked better with Colt McCoy in the last couple of weeks. So if he can turn it around, at least make a game of it against the San Fran, who have a pretty elite defense, it'll be interesting choices. Whether I think Kyler Murray, there might be a little bit of angst amongst him and the coach. So watch this space, I reckon.
let's have to
See how everything pans out.
Yeah, beautiful. Well done, mate. We've knocked it on the head in half an hour, which I'm pretty happy about. I don't know how you're feeling about it, but I'm looking forward to Thursday a lot more than I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. We both
100% should. Injury report for this week, but anyway, we powered through.
I was definitely almost sending you a message this morning saying, well, might just give this to the IR and back on Thursday. But we powered through. We got it done. You did well trying to pronounce Ndamukong Suh, so Maxie will be happy about that one. But we will see you on Thursday.
Yeah, and hopefully I can get
few more mispronunciations.
it's going to happen for the next couple of weeks, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah. I imagine we'll be getting text messages into our group about it. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good work, mate. Like we do as always. Make sure you find us on the socials. I'm not going to go through them all. I really just need this to be finished. But I will see you. My nose is so blocked. It's not funny. I will see you on Thursday, good man.
Oh, mate, I'll see you then.
Good
Great.
man.
Go Birds.
Oh, I'll be decked out, I'll be wearing this bad boy. Don't you worry. I'll work it out.
The whole time.
Need to make these. Yeah. All right, mate. I'll see you then.
See you, mate.